Previously on Curry Spice.
So I'm here for another fashion show. It's the Movement LA and Keisha Waters presents.
So boom, this is the start of your runway. Because I'm not in town now because I'm this right here only, and then put that. Yeah, put the necklace. I love it. I love it.
Curry Spice.
I must have walked 5 or 6 times and the designers just ignored all of my attempts.
Okay, guys. So we're experiencing a problem. I don't have a look. The show is already going on. I'm asking all the different designers if I can get in, if I can walk. They don't have a style for me. So it's looking like I'm not going to be in the show. This never happened to me before. This is like the worst ever. Worst experience ever. And I didn't get to eat.
Now this episode continues with part 2.
What's up? It's Curry Spice back with another video. And I needed about a couple of days to kind of recuperate from what happened at that fashion show. I was devastated. And I'll tell you more in just a minute. So I just picked up some veggie grill. I hadn't been there in forever. I only went there like maybe once or twice. I'm trying to go back to my healthier regimen because I've been eating a lot of junk food lately due to stress. So now I'm trying to be better about eating right. So I did this shoot and it was down here. It was across the street from the Broad. Went to, I forget what it's called, Disney, something about a Disney park, but it's right across from the Broad. So I did a photo shoot with Michael Ad Harris. I've been trying to get my hands on him for the last couple of weeks or so. And I finally got him. The pictures are gorgeous.
So, man, where do I begin? Do I tell you about what happened now or do I wait? Oh, there's a Goodyear blimp in the sky. Look. You see it floating around in the sky? Usually it's a Goodyear blimp. I don't know any other blimps that do that. So yeah, like I said, I needed a couple of days of a breather after what happened at the Rose Garden show at USC. I was behind the scenes for the entire duration of the show, even longer than that. Didn't make it on the runway at all. And I was very upset. My husband was upset. And they were like, I lost count of how many other models that were in the same situation that I was in. At least six in total, but there was more than that. Maybe like closer to 10 other models that were in the same situation as me. So it was just like the organizing could have been better. And then I was trying to get seen by different photographers. I was trying to get seen by different designers because each of the models all had to walk for the designers, and 2 of them were at the end of the line just waiting for the models to walk in their direction, and they were supposed to be giving their undivided attention to look, but that was such a busy day because it was the day of the show. and we didn't have a lot of time, so the designers, like, instead of looking off, well, they were looking off in a different direction, speaking to other people, answering questions. So that took the attention away from me. So it was like little things like that. So I think I had to walk maybe 5 or 6 times, and they all were ignored attempts. So I just felt so rejected, you know? And then when I asked the designers directly, because I couldn't get a hold of the person that I needed to speak to, because she was the one who, it was her show. She was the one who presented the entire show. So I was trying to get a hold of her, and she was so busy that I didn't even really get a chance to even speak to her. One time I did speak to her, but it really wasn't a good time because she was busy juggling other stuff. And but yeah, by the end of the show, and I spoke to her again right before I was about to leave, and I said I didn't make it in the show, and she was upset. She's very upset. Not upset with me, but she was just upset because she was the one who chose me to be in the show in the first place. So I got her Instagram information, and she told me, like, Instagram me, like, message me immediately, and then I'm gonna see about getting you in some more shows to kind of make up for this. So yeah, I walked away in tears. My husband was trying to hold my head up. It was pretty bad, and I needed a day to recover from that, you know. But I'm okay now. I mean, there's still some residual bitterness in there, but for the most part, I'm better. I'm better now. Nothing like that has ever happened to me before. I mean, if you want to maybe say that time where I did the mascotting around as, what's her name? Elizabeth Jennings Graham. Like I was playing Elizabeth Jennings Graham. I mean, that was a failure too, because I was the only model who showed up, but that was a different kind of failure. And I was still able to do the job. They didn't say, oh, well, you're the only model that showed up, so go home. Like, it wasn't like that. I mean, of course I was going to be the only model to walk on the runway, but the mascotting was like a plan B. So, but I still worked. So I was like, and that was disappointing too, but I made the best of the situation. I didn't cry about that one, but something about this situation was really, really upsetting to me. It was borderline embarrassing, actually, to be selected for a show and then in some way get rejected. I mean, that's just what it felt like. They said there was like 2 designers that for some reason didn't make it. One of them was either a cancellation or no call, no show, something along those lines. But there were supposed to be more designers at the event. Our call time was too close to the show time, or the event time, the start of the event. Because our call time was like 11:30 a.m. and then the show, I don't know when the actual fashion show segment of the show was supposed to start originally, but the fashion show didn't start until like 3 o'clock, like after 3. And the show was like, the entire event was from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So we were just really crunched on time, and I got my makeup done fairly fast, but by the time I was finished in the makeup, I had to wait in this long line to, walk in front of these designers, and there were a bunch of other models ahead of me. And I don't know if if it would have made a difference if I was like first in line, to get the walk done. But it kind of felt like a casting call at like just before the show, which doesn't really make sense to me because I already went to a casting call, and that was why I got selected for the show in the first place, So Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess you can't win them all. You know, like there's a first time for everything. But I was like able to stay productive. Like yesterday when I was really just trying to stay to myself, I took a day, I stayed home. I networked all day long, made new connections. I kept relationships going with current connections, things like that. And it helped me not give up hope. Because there are people there for me now that I didn't think were there for me before, because we didn't really connect in that way up until last night. So now I have more support than I had before, which is excellent. And then this helps me realize that like no matter how hard it is and how busy people are in the industry, like coordinators and designers and things like that, like they notice not only when a model is like the same model shows up at like pretty much every event, like they take notice, and like they know when models are trying really hard and when they're not. And when I stayed for the entire show and not even like make it to the runway, I guess that meant a lot to people who were watching me on the side, you know? And when I explained what happened, I guess they saw it as, wow, this woman's serious, and it's very unfortunate that it happened to her. Let me find a way to, even though I'm not like directly responsible for it, let me try to find a way to make it up to her. You know what I mean? So I have some more shows opening up because of that. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but I have like at least 2 or 3 people that said they're gonna try their damnedest to make sure I get into another show soon. And then one of the photographers, I keep saying photographers, one of the designers, the one that I modeled for the CIE pop-up, the caped jumper or cape jumpsuit that I wore, it looks like she's gonna be making me another dress so I can model that for her in her next show, which is like an honor. It's like, wow. So I'm gonna talk to her more about that. She was asking me about like my exact measurements as far as like inseam goes and things like that, so that's a really good sign. And this event is going to be a lot more extravagant, and like it's going to be a lot of like, you know, top-notch people going to be there. So I'm excited about that. Like, I mean, yeah, door closed, even though I was like almost, I mean, the door was cracked and I was almost through the door, but I didn't make it through the door. But at least the door ended up closing on me, but at least I have a few other doors opening, you know? So I have a different outlook on it now. And I'm gonna be hustling hard for more opportunities. That's what I was doing yesterday, but now I'm like really gonna be hustling hard, like harder than I've ever hustled before. And I'm gonna need some coffee. It's gonna be a long night. Well, something like that. But that's why I'm looking for like a coffee bean. I just passed Starbucks, but I'm not really craving Starbucks. I feel like I'm Starbucksed out. Almost. But I'm still looking at that blimp up there. But anyway. But yeah, it probably doesn't give you like in depth about what exactly happened, but I just like try to give you an idea, you know? One thing was like, because I know the designers already, the ones who were there at least, not the ones who didn't show up, but the designers who were there, when they made their decisions and none of them chose me, then it was like, So I still, even though I already knew the answer was a no. It was just kind of humiliating for me to go back to those designers and ask, like, I know you already said no, but is there any possible way you can get me into... Because I feel like it's begging, and I don't like to beg. I know it's like a pride thing, but I don't like to beg. You know? I mean, unless I'm begging for my life or something, but even then I don't like to do that. You know? But yeah, it just put me in a tough spot when it makes me feel like other people are deciding my fate, and I freaking hate that. I hate that. And that's exactly what it felt like at the Rose Garden, like the Rose Garden event. You know, I felt like I had no control. And I was trying to be patient. And another thing is, like, I felt, I'm not sure if that's exactly what the designers were saying. Maybe I misconstrued something they said, or the way they said it. I just felt fat because a lot of the other designers, or no, the other models were significantly thinner than me. And I'm not plus size. I'm like average. I'm not bone thin, not the way I used to be. I'm like somewhere in the middle. Like, not thin, but relatively thin. But not like, not rail thin, that's for sure. So I was talking to one designer, and I was trying to see, like, hey, like, if you could maybe try to get me into something. I was looking at her options, and a lot of them were swimsuits. And I was already, you know, that's like approaching my vulnerabilities right there, because I don't like to model swimsuits. And if I do, I'd rather it be a one piece. And I saw a one piece that I thought could fit, and she looked at it and looked at my waist and hip area and said, oh, no, I don't think it's gonna fit. I still wanted to try, but she, I guess, judging, you know, based on her professional opinion, she knew for sure that it wouldn't fit me. So I mean, I was forced to just trust that. And because I was looking through a bunch of, like, I looked through maybe 2 or 3 different options, but the safest option for me was that one piece. But I couldn't get it. So I ended up just said, okay, I understand. I had to walk away from that. I'll walk away from that part of the situation. And then there was another designer where I was trying to explain, like, hey, you know, like, is there any way you can get me in? And he was just busy trying to, like, piece together the outfits for all his other models, and he's really kind of taking his time with it. Even though it was like crunch time and everybody else was like, move your ass! You know, like cursing at each other, yelling at each other, you know, because it gets really intense behind the scenes. And he was just looking over me, like looking like through me to like, look at other people and like who were thinner than me, like, hey, you know, put this on, and you put that on, and like, oh, this necklace goes with you, and take the hat off one model, putting it on another, like that kind of stuff. Like, and I mean, it looked really, his line looked really good with all the piecing together stuff. It looked really good. But when I approached him, he had almost a full rack. But then I was just waiting there. I think I waited for like at least an hour or something. It was like long. And I'm just watching the clothes on the rack get like fewer and fewer. I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 garments left, and I know they couldn't fit me because they look so small. And my husband noticed it too, and he said, you know, I don't think this is gonna work. Let's just go home. And at that point, that's when the tears were about to drop, and I had to like try to leave before I started crying. But yeah, that was rough. To be faced with your vulnerabilities, plus, I mean, it's already a stigma, like, being like a certain size in the industry, you know, like if you're not anything close to real thin, it's like you're kind of casted out. And it felt like that. Because I know my husband was telling me, no, that's not what it was, but it just felt like that in the moment. Because, you know, if designers are looking at you and looking at your waist and your hips and they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't think it's gonna fit, you know, like that kind of thing, then it's like, okay, are you calling me fat? Like, what are you saying? You know what I mean? Like, kind of felt, I don't know. But yeah, it was a very vulnerable day. Vulnerable, hurtful, but yeah, I'm just moving forward at this point. Yeah, it's always going to be there in the back of my head. And I might be jaded in the future. I might be afraid of like, oh, okay, I know I was selected for this show, but will I really be in the show, or will it be like what happened the last time, you know? I mean, I'll never forget this experience, but hopefully I can learn from it, and if there's any ways that there's something I can maybe do to kind of help minimize something like that from happening, then I would. Not to necessarily say that it was my fault, because it wasn't. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know what happened. If you have any questions about it, just comment, let me know in the section box down below. And always looking forward to spicing up your life one episode at a time. And I guess I'll let you guys know when those pictures release, the Michael Ed Harris photos. They're gonna be like so good. I'm loving them already. Like he didn't even touch them up yet. But he took like 371 photos. But anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Alright, bye.